Hey everybody, welcome to Far Out Dudes.
Yeah, it's another weekend. We got another far out conversation for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Paul.
I'm Joseph.
And behind the scenes we have
Jacob.
Oh snap, he was ready this week.
Yeah, he looked surprised.
I have an assistant with me
He
this
has
week.
an assistant to help him with the soundboards, guys. So this week we're gonna just follow on our trend of Christmas, of the Christmas theme.
I think this is our last one.
This is our
of the month.
last one for the holiday
And
season,
this one's
the
gonna
winter.
be a doozy. He was just like, "I got it, guys. Don't worry about it. Everyone's mind's just gonna explode."
They're literally
the name of the
gonna-
video is just gonna be mind-blowing emojis. You said, right?
Christmas head blowing up emojis. That's the name of the podcast.
They're gonna have to create a whole new emoji for this.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take it away.
So this week what we're gonna be talking, or what we're gonna talk about this episode is Christmas traditions. Where do we get all of those things from? Where do we get Christmas trees, elves, Santa Claus?
From people before.
Yeah.
They
But
made the
where have y'all heard that from most of the time?
What? Christmas trees, elves, and Santa Claus?
Yeah.
From like movies and stores.
Oh, okay, movies and stores.
Stories.
So everything you know about Christmas.
Most
of them, I think it's safe to say most people have now heard of like Saturnalia and things like that from like the Roman.
Oh,
and Greek,
Saturnalia.
Yeah, Saturnalia.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna go a little further back into history and
Further back
basically
from
tell you
Saturnalia?
how much of a lie Christmas is to all of you guys, to the viewers.
You're gonna ruin Christmas for us.
So I'm gonna start this off like Jacob used to do back when nobody listened to us, with a quote from JFK. So JFK says, "The great enemy of the truth is very often not the lie, deliberate, contrived, and dishonest, but the myth, the persistent, persuasive, and unrealistic lie that they tell us." So one of the other quotes that I have is actually from a Nazi propagandist. Well, at least
Oh yeah, tell us that quote, please.
the quote
Give us a propaganda.
is, "If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it."
Mm-hmm. Like St.Nick.
Like the quote itself being attributed to Mr. Joseph Goebbels.
Goebbels. People
Goebbels.
pronounce his name by Goebbels, but there's no R in there.
Yeah, but
Goebbels.
Goebbels.
I think it's Goebbels.
This guy should know.
Goebbels.
So the lie itself. So that's funny that the quote says that if you tell it long enough, people will believe it.
Mhm.
So the quote itself is probably not actually really didn't come from this guy, but yet
At all.
it's attributed to
From
him.
John F. Kennedy, you're saying?
No, from Joseph. From
Goebbels.
Joseph, this
From
guy.
me.
Yeah.
I've been
So why did I tell those
long
quotes?
time.
Because most of the stuff we know about Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
growing up as children, has been
a lie.
a lie.
The name of this video is Ruining Christmas.
Is ruin. I'm gonna ruin Christmas for you. It's
Ruin your Christmas.
Christmas origin traditions and ruining them for you. So that
Become a
way,
Jehovah's Witness.
People are going to
Yeah.
listen to this a day or two before Christmas and be like, throw it all
We're
out.
calling off
Yeah.
Christmas.
We're not celebrating Christmas. Throw it out.
So most people would say that most of the things that we celebrate today have come now from Saturnalia. You've probably seen a bunch of YouTube videos of this. They're all over the internet. So that's why I thought I was going to go even further. Where did Rome get their idea of Christmas, Saturnalia themed ideas of the fur Christmas tree and Santa Claus and things like that? Well, actually, there wasn't Santa Claus in Saturnalia time, but
Well,
anyway,
dish it out.
it actually came back in Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia. Couldn't even say that word right.
He's the one that wrote it.
And I actually was practicing saying that word, and I still said it wrong.
Okay.
Mesopotamia.
Just like
And it came from this guy. Go ahead, pose them up.
stairwell.
Mr. Nimrod.
Man, what a Nimrod.
That's actually...
I had to get that joke out of the way.
Yeah,
quick.
that's probably where it came from, Mr. Nimrod. So Mr. Nimrod,
Mhm.
not to go all biblical on you guys, but it's important. So I'm going to go through a little genealogy for you.
Mm.
Just because it's kind of... The importance of it, you'll find out late in a bit after I continue to go on.
Okay.
So he's actually the grandson of Noah.
Really?
You know Noah and the ark and the flood and everything? He's
Okay.
the grandson, okay? I'm going to go through how he's the grandson, right? So Noah and his wife had a son named Ham.
Mm.
Ham.
Ham.
So that's why.
And his lesser known
So
cousin,
his favorite part of the pig, he's like, just name that after me.
Name him Ham.
and his
Even
lesser known
Ham.
cousin Spam.
Yeah. And so
And
So-
pork chop.
Ham and his wife had Cush.
Oh, I wonder what his
Okay.
favorite thing was. Okay.
So Cush and his wife,
Was he
wife's
the
name
Kush
was
King?
Was he good Kush?
yeah.
Was his
It was the-
catchphrase "Blaze it"?
it's the Cush that everybody knows about nowadays. Yes.
Okay.
So Kush-
First two.
Cush's wife is named Semiramis. Semiramis and Cush
Oh, simmer her.
gave birth to Nimrod. Okay?
Nimrod. Okay.
This guy is actually biblical. He's actually in the Bible, okay? A book that
Okay.
I guess it's a bestseller around the world, I don't know, maybe. Anyway.
A few people know about
Maybe
it.
Harry Potter's probably bigger.
So if you look if you look back at him, this guy actually is known as a great hunter and a mighty man in the land. He's actually probably one of the first kings of the known world back then, right?
You
Mesopotamia
said, hold on, real quick, you said a great hunter and a what? Because you kind of just like,
and mighty in the land. He was
okay, mighty. in the
He was
land.
very he was known for basically like becoming like the first well-known person in Mesopotamia. Became a first big king that Mesopotamia
Okay.
had. He actually
star.
he's known for what you would know as the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so he actually
Yeah.
the known world came together, decided they're going to build a nice Tower of Babel
Okay.
to reach heaven, to reach the gods, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also known for Nineveh, if anybody knows about Nineveh out
Can I
there.
ask you a quick
Obviously,
question?
Nineveh.
Oh, go ahead.
Why didn't he just build a helicopter or a spaceship?
Oh, because back
You get
then
up
they
there
didn't have that
quicker.
technology.
To get up there quicker.
Yeah, they didn't have that technology yet.
Oh, okay.
So they had technology to build.
This is
giant
a this
building?
is a non-alien
And where was
Themed.
this taking place again?
Okay.
Mesopotamia.
So
Look at you
what?
go.
How were they able to get the construction materials super high in the air?
I don't know, how did they build the pyramids?
I have no idea.
So basically,
I've got that
if you
info.
know the story, Babel never worked out.
Uh huh.
Okay, they never reached it.
So
So
they're stupid. They're stupid. They're stupid people.
Let's
Back
just-
then in the Middle
let's
Ages.
just say this guy was very influential, and he gathered a lot of people around, and
Uh-huh.
people saw him as a mighty, mighty leader.
Okay.
He was,
But he was
influential and affluential.
Yes, but he was just a terrible.
Was he like, hey, my granddaddy's Noah? You know him?
Let's just say he was a
spoke to God.
yeah. Let's just say he was a great leader that wasn't so
Okay.
great either. He was pretty terrible.
Okay.
A drunkard and things like that as well.
Well, his
Oh,
granddaddy didn't raise him right.
So he's the king. Okay,
Uh huh.
the king of this giant land of many
Okay.
peoples.
Yes.
Okay. King needs a queen.
Okay.
So he marries a lady by the name of Semiramis.
Oh, it's not Cimaram.
Where do we hear that name from?
Semiramis, mainly when I try to poop, when I eat something super spicy. So he married his mom?
Nimrod found a woman and married her, whose name was Semiramis.
Oh,
So he
just
married
the
his mom.
name.
He married his mom.
Oh, well.
So yes, he married his mom.
He thought he changed her name to get the same name as his mom.
No.
I want you to be my name of my mom.
So
it's
did he
just
call her mom or did he call her Semiramis?
Simmer?
He kept accidentally going, Mom. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So
Semiramis.
Semiramis. So the name does sound a little familiar. That's because that is his mom. Yes,
Okay.
his mama. That is
That's
Okay.
weird.
That's cool.
pretty disgusting, right? But back in the day, if you think about it, most people would marry some of their family members.
Well, back then in
keep
Noah,
the-
there was just him and his family, so
Yeah.
they had to be breeding together.
Well, he's actually probably like the third generation of that, so there probably was quite a few
Yeah.
other people out there that he
Yep.
could have married, but he
No.
ended up marrying his mother. Okay.
Okay. Why are you so judgy, bud? Okay.
Well, I mean, back then, what else did they do?
2022, bruh.
They also married people within their family to keep the bloodline, right?
Keep that bloodline pure.
Okay.
You saw a lot
Very
of
pure.
you saw a lot of first cousins marrying back then, even as close as the Middle Ages, right?
Okay, I ain't
even
judging.
today.
Even today. So Semiramis is actually, her background is actually known for a lot of things of fertility. She's one of the fertility gods. You hear of Ishtar and things like that, and that's where we get Easter from. But that's for another podcast for us. Okay.
Okay.
So eventually Nimrod dies. What they say that he died, like some kind of little bug went into his nose and slowly ate at his brain, and he ended up dying like a terrible death.
That's metal.
Okay.
That's a metal death.
So Nimrod dies. Okay, this great mighty warrior that we've heard of and we saw a picture of, right? You saw the beard thing going on and everything. Hence, what we're talking about, Christmas, anyways, right? So Semiramis dies. I'm sorry, Nimrod dies.
Nimrod dies.
And so back in the day, he was basically one of the first people that was basically deified, right? What does deified mean?
like becoming a deity.
Becoming a deity and a god.
Giving a god.
He literally was probably the first one to become a god. And what did most people worship back in the day?
Cows.
Before cows.
The sun.
The sun. He was
the sun.
He was what you
And
would
the
call
moon.
the very first sun god, right?
Oh, okay.
Baal.
So
or
he was a
Baal.
star god.
Yes. So he was Baal or Baal, right?
God of the star people.
Also, yes, God of the star people. And what most people, the Incas, have their sun god. The Mayans have the sun. Egyptians have Ra. So you have the Incas that with their sun god. If you can notice that it has kind of almost like a 8-point star to it and everything. Then you have Egyptians with Ra. You have Apollo. You have the Nordic goddess Sol. Who's the main god for the Norse people?
Thor.
Odin.
Odin.
Oh, Odin.
Odin is the main god, right? So that's important for you to remember. Okay, so Nimrod becomes the sun god. Okay,
Okay.
so throughout the years, you have all of the other gods coming up in the Incas and in Rome and Egypt and things like that. They all use this starburst looking thing, right? This 8-point star thing, right? So Jacob, post up that one picture that I would say of Nimrod. There you go. So if you look at this picture here, you see the 8-point star, and this, my friends.
It looks like a 4-point star, to be honest.
Well, okay, so it's a 4-point, but look at the little rays coming down. So that's kind of the
That makes it
points,
8,
right?
Okay.
And then you have the circle that goes around it. Okay, so click on the next picture. So these are some of the kind of the artifacts that you would get from the sun god, like what represents the sun god back in the day. Okay, and so what do we put now at the top of our tree?
A star. An 8-point star.
An 8-point star, my friends. So most people, these little symbols of the 8-point star, the star on the top is to basically what these pagans would do is worship the sun god. Okay. So now what we do now, going from Egypt, going to the Norsemen, to the Christians coming in and making the sun god, the 8-point star on top of the thing for what? Our little known baby Jesus. The star is there. The 3 wise men follow it. That's what we believe now. But it all started with the sun god and putting it on top of a tree.
Okay.
But let's work our way down. Where do we get the tree from?
I don't know. Where did they get the tree from?
I think there was just a ton of trees, and they were like, "Oh, these would be nice to
This
hang
one
some ornaments
looks.
off of."
There's plenty here. This one looks great to hang stuff on. It'll
I mean, the
hold our
trees,
star.
the limbs stick out perfectly, so you can hang things on them. They're
Yeah,
not
it's perfect.
going all
It's
crazy.
uniform.
It's uniform.
Is
Looks
it?
nice.
So most of the time, what the pagan people thought of, like the Norsemen, the Egyptians. I mean, this goes back throughout the different religions and
all kinds of different people.
Yeah, people.
Right. Yeah.
Throughout the centuries, throughout the millennia, people thought highly and thought, I guess what you would say, like kind of like the evergreen fir trees, right? Because
Yeah.
most of the year round they're green, and they basically thought of it as life, rebirth, things like that.
Evergreens.
Right? So the story again goes to Mr. Nimrod.
Oh.
Okay.
We'll circle back.
And his dirty mother wife.
Okay.
So Nimrod dies, and one of the ways that she brings him back as a deity and a spirit person,
She gives birth to him again.
she
from his own sperm.
looks out her little portal window, okay? Because I
Okay.
guess they're just not really windows; they're just like holes in the wall, right? Back then,
Well,
you would say.
technically a window.
And there's a stump of an evergreen tree, a stump. Okay,
Okay.
Jacob, show everybody what a stump would look like, because people don't know what stumps look like. Tree stump. Okay,
That looks like a tree stump.
Semiramis, his mother wife, goes to sleep. Just so happens to look out the window, sees a tree stump there. This is after Nimrod's death.
Never noticed that tree stump.
Do you know, I figured out why they call the anus. Because the anus, the star.
She falls asleep. She wakes up in the morning, and guess what she has there?
Nimrod.
A full-grown ever tree sprung up overnight from the dead tree stump.
Wow.
Look at that. So what does she symbolize? She sees that and symbolizes as a spring forth unto new life of the death of Nimrod.
Yes.
So Nimrod's not
It
only
was him.
he's not only coming down as a tree, but he's also the sun god who sends rays down to the
To
earth,
feed the
right?
tree. Warm you.
Okay. So
All hell, Nimrod.
yeah. So when was, and the funny thing is that Nimrod, his birthday is
December 25th.
December 25th, people.
I'm just good like that.
And so what Semiramis says that this tree sprung forth around his birthday, and that every year, just so happens, gifts appear underneath the tree.
Like what?
Like as if
She got like
Nimrod's coming
she got,
down
like,
and giving gifts for his birthday.
PlayStation 5s and stuff?
Yeah. PlayStation 5s.
Digital
Yeah.
cameras and
Okay.
gift cards to Sephora.
Yeah.
She was like, what are these things? I can't use these.
What is this?
What is this
This guy-
plastic bit?
This sun god is thinking too far ahead for me over here.
I'm not going to live that long.
Non-existent. So evergreen trees, that's basically kind of the background story of Christmas trees. Later on, it becomes like a tree that people bring into their homes. They decorate, things like that, to their gods.
Put gifts under
And so
it.
here's kind of one of the archaeological finds that people have found. So I we kind of did a little highlighting of the where the tree is right there and the star right there. So that's Nimrod. That's his evergreen death to life evergreen tree there, and the star to represent him as a sun god.
Now, is
Okay.
that him like dying, or is that someone like, don't beat me?
But if you look it up, most of the time it's throughout the generations, throughout the millennia. Again, we see Egyptians, Romans, Druids, Celtics, Vikings, everybody kind of looking at the evergreen as a symbolism of like new life. So what's funny is even in the book of Jeremiah in the Bible actually describes people decorating trees. And the God of the Bible says, do not decorate the trees like the pagans do. So obviously back then, when it was first written, the Vikings and things weren't around. So this is kind of that take on, okay, where did they get it from? They got it from Nimrod, from the people of them, the evergreen tree, putting a starburst sun at the top.
Oh, what flavor was it?
Starburst.
Mine's
orange.
It was lemon.
That's good. Lemon's the
Yeah.
best. Lemon's the
Okay.
best.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take orange. Orange is good. Big old orange starburst.
Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah. So, but most of the time of what you see when you look up like articles, like where did the Christmas tree come from? You get it
Yeah.
from more of the
You get the Saturnalia stuff.
well, you get the Saturnalia, but you also get the Germans and their cutting down of trees and things like that because the evergreen.
Yeah.
It's like a big thing that the evergreen fir tree is like this thing that's just spurs of life.
Yeah.
Where do we get the Yule log from?
The Germans.
The Germans, right? We want to go a little further back again.
The precursor,
Okay.
the Germans?
Back to old Nimrod again.
Okay.
So Nimrod, we know Nimrod's dead. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. He became the sun god.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His wife Semiramis is still alive. I don't know how his mother is living longer than him. But she's
Didn't have
still
a buggy.
she's still
through her
alive.
brain?
She becomes
They
pregnant.
cut the tree down.
Okay.
She gets cold. He strikes the log and keeps her warm. And she's like, oh, Nimrod.
No. Dang. Close. Nimrod is the sun god, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So
Fire.
Semiramis.
Oh, she's pregnant, so he gets pissed and burns down the logs.
The tree.
No again.
Okay.
Okay.
So she
No
gets
more
pregnant because he's a sun god. She gets pregnant from what she says from the sun rays. The rays of the sun god have impregnated her.
It was a guy
Okay.
named Ray.
She gives birth to Tammuz.
Tammuz.
Tammuz, do you know?
Now,
what
let me
Tammuz?
explain a little bit about Tammuz. I don't know anything
Oh,
about Tammuz.
Tammuz is said to be, again, Nimrod.
Deity? Oh.
A deity.
Or
Nimrod.
half-god.
Nimrod in the flesh.
Oh.
So kind of like a
Reincarnation.
yeah. So he was actually born and said he was Nimrod's physical being on Earth.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Tammuz is also this giant influential person, very bad person. He also needs a wife.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think he marries?
His same mother.
His same mother.
What? How
Yes.
old was she? Like 20 years old when she had
She was like,
She was like
back
probably like
then, they were having
13.
kids like,
I have
young.
no
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
So Tammuz is basically the incarnation of the sun god Nimrod.
Mhm.
Okay? Marries his mother again. Disgusting. His grandmother,
Couldn't
right?
get enough.
Okay.
Couldn't get
Wait,
enough.
so his
It wouldn't be. It was his
mother,
mom.
well, yeah, it was his
It was
mom.
mom.
because it
That's
was
his brother.
Yeah. His brother dad.
Is
Hey, that's not his dad. Oh well, I guess technically, if you think the sun rays,
So it's his mother, it's his mother wife and his brother dad,
and also his grandma.
right? So
how is it his grandma? That's his.
so
mom.
the Chaldean word for infant is Yule,
Because never.
okay?
Mhm.
Yule.
Yule.
Okay? All right? Tammuz dies
Okay.
when he was hunting by a hog.
I think it's this lady who's killing them.
She's got to be killing her
She's
own
like, I
kids.
cannot get rid of you. Why would you just die? I don't want to marry you again, son. For the third time.
So Tammuz dies in a hunting accident by a hog. If you know throughout the lines, the Celtics, the Druids, the Germans, they have the Yule logs and they have the Yule hogs. Do you know that?
No.
No.
They do. So there's
I
different.
guess I'll just take your word for it.
Yeah, some of the so that's Germanic folklore is the belief of the Yule log and the Yule boar. Okay, but I'm gonna, like I said, I'm going way further back. Where did they get it from? Well, if you know about the story of Tammuz, he dies in a hunting accident by a boar. Okay, Yule means infant in Chaldean. Okay, and then he gets so you got the Yule log, you got the Yule boar. Okay, when did Mr. Tammuz die? December 25th, on his brother dad's birthday. What they would do is burn the Yule logs in remembrance of Tammuz. Kind of like the celebration, you replace the tree, and you would let it burn. One of the things that for the Germanic people is that they would burn the Yule logs and they would let it burn for 12 days, right? 12 days at Christmas, the Yule logs burning, okay? And one of the things that for the Germanic, to go back to Tammuz, the burning of the Yule log for him was basically kind of emphasizing to kind of replacing the tree, but kind of burning it in a way of remembrance to him and kind of like to celebrate his rebirth. You know, like you're burning his log.
A rebirth of him again.
Yes.
He wants you to remember him.
To me, what I've kind of
again.
what I kind of thought of it is kind of like memorializing him by burning a log in the fireplace.
Yeah, every year,
Okay.
like
Every
around
year.
that time.
And so if you go along the lines, you get to the Germanic people and the Celtics and the Druids and those who burnt also in remembrance of their gods.
Yeah.
Kind of like
so real quick, I just want to clarify. They get these trees and decorate them in remembrance of Nimrod, but then they burn the tree in remembrance of himself as Tammuz.
kind of it. Well, they would burn logs.
Well, Yule logs. Yeah, they would.
So
okay.
it was
It's all
basically
about me.
Yeah. So if you go down the line, then you also get it in it has a lot to do, and I'll let the watchers look that up themselves because you can find a lot of articles, a lot of videos on the Yule log and the Germanic people and the Druids and the Nords and what they believe and how they burn Yule logs as well. The Yule hog, you'll get all of that. I'm kind of taking, like I said, taking it back, far out dudes, taking it back even further for you guys. So we've got the star, we've got the tree, we've got the Yule logs. Okay, felt like we've covered the tree portion of it. Where do we get Mr. Santa Claus from?
St.Nick.
Saint
I can't
Nick.
say because you're going further back from what we're going to say.
You're getting it. You're getting it, bro. I'm
Catching
going
on.
further back.
I can already tell you, though, prediction, he marries his mom.
Mrs. Claus is actually Mrs. Mom.
It's his mom. Yes.
So
Yes.
if we have a trend here, where do you think we've got? Where did Santa Claus start off from?
Probably from Nimrod giving the
Mesopotamia.
people gifts.
He came back.
Mesopotamia, Mr. Nimrod. Post up that picture of Mr. Nimrod.
Put it up.
Okay, Mr. Nimrod. So we're going to Mr. Nimrod. Mr. Nimrod has over here, he's got some little tree things. He's got he's got a deer. He's got some wings and things like that. But notice he also has a beard. Okay, beard, things, deers. I mean, What more? How does this thing not look more like
I
Christmas
thought
to
you were
you?
gonna start rapping, but yeah, it's like the building blocks for it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get how this guy turns into Santa Claus.
Oh wow,
Okay.
Since when did Santa Claus carry a tree in his hand?
that's just how big he is.
It's just depiction.
That's a regular sized tree.
It's just a picture. Well, actually, that's an important aspect that you kind of pointed out there, that it's a very large man holding a very big tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little bit of the history on how Mr. Nimrod became Santa Claus. Oh wait, how Mr.
St.Nick.
Nimrod became Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we already know that throughout the years you have Nimrod, who has become the sun god, who has a beard, who had the picture that's actually artifact from the from that era of Mesopotamia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Like a hieroglyph.
Yeah. So then you have Ra, right? That's probably the next one. The guy's wearing a sun thing over his head. Then you have the Nord god.
Mm-hmm.
And the Nord god is
Odin.
Odin. Lord Odin.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say Thor again for some reason.
Thor is not the god.
I know.
Okay. Okay, so
Well, he is now. His dad died in the Marvel movies.
oh, okay. That's weird. Odin is the god, right?
Uh-huh.
Notice any similarities between Odin and Nimrod?
Yes.
They're
quite
both
a bit.
guys.
Well, here's some of the background on Mr. Odin. Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Odin actually rode it in a horse. Okay, can you show the next picture? Mr. Odin rode in a horse. He would also come during the winter solstice time between December, whatever days or whatever, to the end of December to January area.
Did they
And-
get this picture from like the back of a van? It's painted.
So what's funny is that this looks like a new picture, which it probably is, but it's very important. All of the aspects to this picture are very important to what the Nords believed and how we got to some of the other traditions that we believe in now. Okay, but I don't want to talk about that now. I want you to pay close attention to this picture and what you see in it. Okay.
Okay.
You see Mr. Odin with a beard riding on a horse. The idea of the Nords and what they did back in the day is that they would believe that Mr. Odin, they would same thing, evergreen trees and things like that.
Mr. Odin.
But he would actually come and visit and drop off gifts to children as well.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Laptops, Sephora gift cards.
It's so exactly all the Nintendo
Rich children. Rich
all the
children.
Nintendo stuff. They believed in those
Nobody
things.
does Nintendo anymore. It ain't
Okay.
1999.
I'm gonna go into a little bit more of Odin coming down the chimney or coming into their homes, living gifts, and what the
Ooh.
children left for Odin so that way the gifts would be left. Right.
Milk and
I'm gonna get
cookies.
to that in a little bit, but I want to stick to Odin and how he looks like Santa Claus. Okay.
Yes.
So Mr. Santa Claus, Christians come in and they turn him into an old man, Mr. St.Nick, who came and dropped off gifts as well to the kids.
Yeah, he's carrying a tree too.
He's carrying a tree. So Odin, if you know, he's actually known as and St.Nick as well, is this giant of a man, probably 8 foot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's giant for most people, 8 foot. He too is a mighty warrior, just like Nimrod. Mighty warrior, mighty person, very influential. He's a god. He's the god in the Nordic times. So the Christians come in, they're like, we need to change this a bit. We don't believe in the pagan god Odin.
Yeah.
We're gonna make him. You know what? He's a good guy. He's a Saint Nick.
They
Saint Nick.
said we're taking over.
Yeah, Saint Nick. He's a good guy. We're gonna make Saint Nick. He's Saint Nicholas. He's gonna be holding some shrubs. He's gonna be holding the little things, little gifts, a little bag. Oh, but wait. Odin also had people with him. Did he not? No, he didn't have people. Sorry.
No, he was riding this horse.
He was riding his horse, but he also had little helpers
Mm-hmm.
that were wolves, right?
Oh, I see. I see.
How are we gonna get them to believe that this is?
Something softer, more docile.
No, sorry, not even that.
Oh.
We're Christians coming into a pagan land. We want to change Odin, the god, into a little less known character, Saint Nick. Nice guy, passes out gifts. He needs his helpers still with him. Let's
Elves.
go. So Mr. Saint Nick's, he's
man
dropping
with the
off
birch.
pictures to everyone. Dropping off gifts to the kids and everything. Mr. Saint Nick here. Okay.
Oh, you mean like his counterpart?
He needs his helpers.
Oh.
Okay, go down to the next. Go to the next picture. He needs his helpers. Okay, So back in the 13th century, you have Odin. Odin back. Then you go about to the 1500s in Holland, where the Christians they make him Sinterklaas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's a wise old man who drops off gifts, wears a white coat, red cloak, right?
That sounds familiar.
Has his little what you would call blackjacks, his helpers.
Blackjacks. Is that where we get the game from?
Kind of, sort of, not really. I actually don't know. I didn't
Okay.
look that up. So so the blackjacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So blackjacks were actually some of Odin's helpers. You have his helper Freak and Greg. Those were his two. Those were his two wolves that he had next to him that helped him out, right? So
Gotcha.
what the Christians did and what they brought in, they said, hey, we're turning Odin into St.Nick, and we're turning his little wolves into blackjack helpers, right? 1500s, okay? How did he get to America? It's about 1700s. The Dutch came over, and they brought Mr. Sinterklaas to us, renamed him in English
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Oh, Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, okay?
Yes.
And what do we do as Americans? We turn things from what people give them and we make them advertisable. So in about the 1930s, Coca-Cola decided, hey, we need to come up with a new theme. We need something to sell to the people. We need something that's going to sell our Coca-Colas.
Yeah.
So one
To
of
the
the
masses.
one of their advertisers actually took from the Odin theme, from the Sinterklaas, from the St. Nick, and actually made him into what we have now today in America, Santa Claus.
Oh.
With the whole reindeer thing and everything too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with the whole reindeer thing, where do we get the reindeer from?
Usually from like a forest type area. It's usually where
Keep the reindeer up.
Reindeer are found.
Okay. So, how many reindeer do you typically have, right? Not the 9, not with Rudolph, right? You have 8.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You have 8 reindeer. Okay. Where did that come from? Where did we get 8 reindeer from? Do you know where we got 8 reindeer from?
8-pointed star.
The 8-pointed star.
No. I want to go back, but not as far back as Nimrod. I want to go back to Odin. Show the picture of Odin where we think it's the picture of a posted on the side of a van. So look at Odin's horse.
Mm-hmm.
Notice anything about Odin's horse?
It's got a lot of legs.
Got a lot of legs. How many
I
legs?
thought that was because he's going so fast.
Nope. That's how many legs his horse.
8 legs.
Splinter.
Sprinter?
I forget how to say it. Splinter.
Prancer?
Splinter.
Prancer.
Sprinter. Anyway, he has how many legs, Joseph?
It's got 2 in the front, 2 sets in the front, 2 sets in the back.
Which would equal up to 8. That's so 8 reindeer, my friend.
That's a Space Jam reach right there, but okay.
No, that's actually where we get most of our 8 reindeer from, are actually from the
And each leg is named Prancer,
Dancer,
Donner.
and Blitzit, Comet and Cubit. But did you forget the most famous reindeer of all?
You're saying them all wrong.
If you notice that he has 8 legs, that's Odin's white horse that he rode on to go drop off presents to kids was actually an 8-legged white horse.
Okay.
So today they transfer that 8 legs, 8 reindeer. That's where we get our 8 reindeer from. Odin, the pagan god of the Northmen. One of the things that they would do is the children, they would actually leave.
Milk and cookies.
No, but that's kind of where we get our milk and cookies from.
Figs and wine.
They actually would leave, because Odin's horse is hungry and needs food, they would actually leave boots with hay next to their chimney or next to their fireplace. So that way when
So it
Odin
can catch on fire.
so Odin would know, hey, look at these good kids. They're going to be feeding my horse. He's very hungry. And he would leave gifts to the children, thus
I'm gonna be one thick horse
transporting
by the end of that ride.
thus making it into milk and cookies, into what we have, leaving milk and cookies for Santa Claus.
My milk and cookies never got eaten. That's pretty pissed off.
They were probably terrible cookies. Santa doesn't like terrible cookies.
You know, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Plus, we didn't have a chimney,
So let's
had
go.
to break the window a few times, few Christmases.
Yeah. So let's go back to Odin again and his horse.
Oh,
Okay.
boy. Okay.
So
Yes.
do y'all remember the names that I just gave you of his little wolf helpers?
Blackjacks?
No, that's what they eventually became.
I don't think you ever told us.
No, you didn't say their names.
I did. Freak and Greek.
Freaking Greek.
Freaking Greek.
Freaky Greeky.
Freak and Greek. Okay, Freak and Greek were his helpers.
Okay.
Do they resemble anything of what may still be going on today?
Elves.
Elves, yes. But what about before elves?
Krampus?
So the Blackjacks, okay,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
they
Very
eventually,
racist of you, but go ahead.
yep, they eventually became the demons that were the St. Nick's helpers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know about that at least, right?
Yes.
You know about Krampus. You know about how St. Nick had helpers. Well, Odin had his two little wolves that were helpers, so they eventually turned into Krampuses, demons that hung around St. Nick. So basically, St. Nick, if you see in the picture here, has his helper, or just like Odin and his
Boy
helper.
got a long tongue.
Yeah, that Krampus.
Okay.
Okay, you have Krampus. Krampus is his helper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Krampus is known to have chains, known to have whips,
Mm-hmm.
known to have
Smack people with birch branches.
Go next picture, Jacob. So that's kind of where. So
Poor kid.
just like Odin's helper, the two wolves, you have Krampus. So
Mhm.
throughout the stories, his wolves turned into demons that were with Saint Nick's
Mhm.
that would do what, Joseph, to the children? What would
Uh,
happen?
punish
What's the
them.
whole premise of Krampus?
To punish bad kids.
He'd
punish-
slap him with sticks.
along with the Grilla.
Yeah. So if you watched our previous episode of Joseph telling of us talking about Krampus was somebody who would take children. They have actually these runs. So in Germany, for the people when Christianity came around, they turned Odin into Saint Nick, and they turned his wolves helpers and blackjacks. Eventually, blackjacks turned into Krampus.
Mm.
This is what they had back in that time. Look at this picture. Look at how wonderful this picture is. Right? Does that not just say Christmas spirit to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think Halloween.
What about
I
the
think-
sleigh bells ring? Are they glistening?
You mean, are you
Are they
listening?
glistening?
Are they ringing?
What
right?
do you know about Christmas?
So one of the things you remember on
Why are
that,
you gay?
you remember on the last podcast you said I told you that Krampus wore bells. These are the things like where we get kind of that sleigh bell rings, Christmas bells. Krampus was also known to have bells around him and
To let everybody know he's
chains.
coming?
Let them know that Saint Nick is coming.
So before, when you heard
Saint
that,
Nick is coming. Yeah.
it wasn't it's Santa Claus. Oh shit, here comes Krampus.
Well,
He's gonna slap
no,
me with a stick.
Well, it was kind of like, oh, here comes Saint Nick coming to bring presents. He also has his bad guy. He also has his helper, Krampus, who may end up taking me and pulling my ears off or whatever, taking me back into his cave to eat me or whatever. Yes, he didn't eat people. He just tortured them, right?
You stay a year here. Bring.
But
it
that's
back
kind of
next
where the
Christmas.
idea of sleigh bells, Christmas bells came from was Krampus, right? And one of the things that we talked about in our last podcast is the Krampus run. So Krampus is a demon. Krampus is a thing, right? That's everybody knows about Krampus now. But I thought that was just an interesting thing, telling you the story about how Krampus came out from the Nords and Odin with his wolves. The wolves turned into Greek gods. Not that one yet, Jacob. So the wolves turned into Krampuses. I mean, blackjacks to Krampuses, and that's kind of where you get that tradition from. That's where we get Santa Claus from. That's where we get Saint Nick and things like that. But we all know that.
What about what Santa says?
Yeah.
You know, does that have anything to do with the ho, 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 ho,
Yeah, so Santa.
Ho ho ho! Is he
Where-
calling his hose?
Where do you think that? Well, let's not even ask you that because I'll just tell you, right? So Santa says ho 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 ho, right? The history of a hobgoblin, author Alan W. Wright reveals Robin itself was a medieval nickname for the devil. Did y'all know that?
I did not.
Yeah. So
Batman and Robin? So Batman and the Devil.
yeah, so Robin himself would come into plays in about the 1600s. He would come into plays. He would play the devil. Okay. And so one of the trademark laughs to bring himself in, so people knew that during the play, oh no, the devil's coming, right? All you hear, just imagine sitting in the 1600s, watching a play. Okay.
Okay, imagine.
Okay.
Okay. You know the devil's going to appear at one point.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you just hear a laugh in the background. But the laugh is not a regular, normal
It's not
laugh
a
that
ha,
you
ha, ha.
It's not a ha ha ha. It's a
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 ho. And so that's where we get the ho, ho, ho that Santa Claus would say. Okay. So what's next?
What about when you kiss someone underneath the mistletoe?
The mistletoe, right?
Yeah.
So I begin to think again. I didn't want to go back all the way to Nimrod. I didn't want to go back all the way to. I wanted to stick with kind of now on the mistletoe thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that people know about the mistletoe is I want to go back to Odin again. I don't want to go that far. I want to go back to Odin. Okay. One of the interesting stories about the Odin and the mistletoe, right, is that Odin's son Barlis.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Barlis. Yeah, Barlis.
Good research.
Okay. So Baldur. Okay.
Oh, wow, you're way
All
off.
there.
Okay. So one of the most interesting stories that I found about the mistletoe that most people don't know about is Odin and his son Baldur.
They kissed under the mistletoe.
They did not kiss under the mistletoe. Okay, so one
It's not
day,
that spicy.
one day Odin has a dream that something bad's going to happen to Baldur, his son. Okay, so one of the things that the other gods did is they went and spoke to all the inanimate objects.
Inanimate?
Inanimate
Inanimate.
objects.
Yes.
Like trees, rocks, and said, hey, don't do anything to Baldur, okay? We know something bad's going to happen to Baldur. Don't do
Something's
anything to Mr. Baldur,
Yeah.
okay? Now, one of the things that they forgot to talk to was the mistletoe. So one of the things during the festival atmosphere, everybody was having a good time. It was a festival. Baldur was there. Odin was
And
there.
the mistletoes were in the background and going.
Mistletoe was that. Well, what do we know about Loki? Loki is one of the bad guys, right? Kind of
Yes.
the mischievous god, right? So he went up, grabbed the mistletoe that no one ever spoke to, and he whittled it into what you would call probably a spear or a dart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
I would say a dart. It's a little smaller, right? Whittled it into a
Yeah.
little dart.
Okay.
So he went up to the god. So one of the celebrational festival things was that you would throw things, and like you would throw the rock. Well, you wouldn't throw rocks. You would throw like branches and things and like celebration. So people were throwing at Odin and his son Baldur, throwing things in celebration, right? Everybody's just throwing things, having a good time, kind of like how we throw rice at when people get married.
Yeah,
you know, they throw
weddings.
rice at
Yeah.
weddings. You know, so people are throwing things. Loki, little mischievous Loki, walks up to another god, Hodir.
Oh dear.
Is that how?
Maybe.
Is that how you say it? I don't know. Holdir. So he walks up to him. Holdir is blind. Okay. He says, hey, throw this. Right? A little spear, little dart that Loki turned into basically a weapon. So he throws it. Just like
Right.
everybody else was throwing.
Why is it throw so hard?
The dude's blind. Okay. Throws a spear. Doesn't even know what he's throwing. You just know he's throwing things. This thing goes straight at Baldur and kills him.
A twig.
How hard did he throw this little mistletoe?
How hard did he throw the missile? Not only that, how did the blind god hit Baldur?
And why did Baldur die from being hit by a
What
twig?
about all the collateral damage?
So Baldur dies.
Uh huh.
And after a failed attempt to bring Baldur back from the dead, everyone agreed that every time they passed over a mistletoe in remembrance of him, they kissed each other.
So
That's an odd outcome. Hey, let's just kiss each other.
Odin. Gotta remember your son.
Hey,
Come here, Odin.
oh no, the mistletoe, that's what killed Baldur. In remembrance of him, we'll just make out. So right, that's one of the ideas
Okay.
of the mistletoe. The other one is Saturnalia, right? One of the things is the winter solstice. Saturnalia, Rome was doing that same thing, though. They saw that the mistletoe as fertility, right? So
Okay.
they basically had orgies under the mistletoe.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of where we get the whole idea of like people kissing, making out. It's what you do under the mistletoe. So you have those folklore, those ideas of where mistletoe, kissing under the mistletoe came from.
Kiss of the
Okay.
camel toes, but for what it sounds like.
Okay.
That was funny.
So those are kind of some of the things that we get Christmas trees from. That's where we get Yule logs from. That's where we get the St.Nick, Santa Claus. That's where. Oh, you know what's interesting is I did actually forget to go into Krampus. So Krampus is so Odin has his wolf helpers, Freak and Greg, Greg, right? And so those turned into Krampus, the helpers, right?
And Krampus turned into
elves.
Yeah, we covered that in our last video.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we get those Santa Claus, we get the elves, we get the Christmas trees, we get the Yule logs, and we get old mistletoes.
Everything. Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
There's no original thought there.
There's no, it's just
Maybe
passed down throughout history, just turned into different things. We just now use it, we just say that they're nice, happy thoughts now.
Yeah. We changed them to better, positive things. Yeah. Not killing babies and people.
That's probably one of the great things, like before sliced bread, or not even, that was the after sliced bread. Whoever this advertiser was for Coca-Cola, to think, I'm going to make this guy into Santa Claus, have his 8 reindeers, and have elves. Like, all that came together in his mind. Like, this guy needed...
That guy got paid nothing, I guarantee.
That guy should have...
Or that advertisement agency, whatever it was.
Whoever they used, that is crazy to think that he can't, like... I guess he didn't come up with it, but he twisted it around and made that into, like...
Yeah.
That's
positive
crazy.
for Coca-Cola.
Yeah. But that's it. That's all I have for you guys. What do y'all think about that?
It was very interesting. I didn't know really any of that. So it's a great conversational piece, especially going to Christmas. Yeah. Going into Christmas with family. Like,
I thought this would be the perfect
Santa Claus, more like a guy who married his own mom twice.
How about that?
How about that, Jacob?
I was just gonna add one last thing. If you would give me just 1 second.
One. We have to remember ball right.
So I'm gonna go with a different one that I also looked up. Wait.